All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Here I have a nice article, okay, concerning the, well, as you can see, the title, half the world's banks are too weak to survive downturn, okay? And as a matter of fact, there was a video, okay, that Dabu77 had put up. Okay, let me just pull it up real quick, man, because what you're gonna see happen now is that a lot of people are now gonna start, turning, okay, looking for answers. Okay, this video right here. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna play it, but like it says here, let me just get rid of the ad. Okay. So as you can see here, all right, it says UN or United Nations demands immediate fiscal stimulus to save the world from crisis. Central banks out of ammo. Well, look, the world's banks are too weak to survive downturn, McKenzie, because the way, all right, a lot of the systems we have now are fixed markets. It's not a free market. Okay, so it's being tempered with too much. All right. It's sort of like relating it to the human body real quick. When you're constantly on drugs, where your body becomes dependent on drugs, okay? Guess what? When you go off, when you try to go off the drugs, you can't. But then look, here's how it be. Your body gets addicted to the drugs to where now your body depends on the drugs to perform its normal functions. But when your body starts to malfunction, even when it's on the drugs, and you need more drugs, and you can't have enough drugs, then your body collapses. So that's the same thing with the economy right now. The economy has gone from a healthy body that can produce for itself on its own, all right, because of being tempered with so much that the economy was now on drugs, okay, which is the different the assistance, okay, by the feds, okay. And so the economy being on that drugs, it became dependent on the drugs in order to function, in order to move right, to create the illusion of a healthy body. Okay. But now that they're seeing that, look, the drugs, okay, or the fake money that the feds keep pumping into the economy, okay, to try and keep it afloat or try to keep it alive, it's not working anymore. So now they're seeing, oh, shoot. First off, we definitely can't take the body off of the economy off of these drugs, okay? But even with these drugs or this artificial manipulation, the economy is still giving out because it can only take so much, and we have hit its limit, okay? We have hit its limit. Let me see if he put the link to this article in here. I think, yeah, he did. Okay. So matter of fact, let me read what I have here on RT first, and then I'll see what he got in here. So it says here, half of the world's banks are too weak to survive downturn. Now, is it by coincidence that you have these uproars and uprisings and violent protests going on around the world? Majority of it for what? For government regulations, government laws, but also because of money, taxation. Okay. It's a taxation. That's a problem with money. And it's going to get worse now because with the economy doing so bad, even if the government wanted to take certain measures concerning monetarily, they couldn't. And and people are not trying to hear that. Okay. It says a new survey from consultancy McKinsey & Co. has found that a majority of banks globally may not be economically viable because their returns on equity aren't keeping pace with costs. The study looked at 1,000 banks in developed and emerging countries and found that just over a third made a return on capital of just 1.6% over the past 3 years. This compares to returns of just over 17% for top banks over the same period. Nearly 35% of banks globally are both subscale and suffer from operating in unfavorable markets as well as having flawed business models, said McKinsey. Okay. Oh boy. Now it says global economy faces awfully high risk of recession in the next 12 to 18 months, warns Moody's. But with the way things are looking, it's not. Look, man, it might not even be 12 to 18 months. It might be way quicker than that because they're saying a high risk of a recession. You might have a collapse before that because now you're calculating this based on the way things are going or based on an estimated rate at which the economy will deteriorate. But what happens when it starts to, that rate becomes exponential, okay? Where it doubles, then it quadruples, then it just keeps on going. That will completely speed things up, man. Like the Lord throwing a curveball or a wrench into their plans or their calculations, okay? So a lot of things are happening around the world, man. A lot of things are happening, and once it hits America, listen, man, you it's gonna be it. It says it added that to survive a downturn, merging with similar banks may be the only option if a full reinvention is not feasible. According to the report, banks are not as well prepared for a downturn as they were when the global financial crisis erupted in 2007 in terms of profitability. So what do you think is going to happen now? All those years, okay, built up, okay, of just complete, look, man, they saying the US debt is around 400 trillion. All right. You have the feds that have to constantly pump in money. What is that, $75 billion or so, just to keep things afloat? And now they're asking for a fiscal stimulus, man. Which, when you look that up, I'm gonna look it up on here for you. But it's basically government taxation or government policies being altered in order to help the economy grow or help the economy do better, because it's like life support. While the jury is still out on whether the current market uncertainty will result in an imminent recession or a prolonged period of slow growth, the fact is that growth has slowed. Okay, so whether it is an imminent recession or a prolonged period of slow growth, it's still slowed. Okay, it says Wall Street bankers never punished for massive fraud leading to 2008 financial crisis. This is likely the last pit stop, all right, in this cycle for banks to rapidly reinvent business models and scale up via acquisitions, the consulting firm said, adding, the time for bold and critical moves is now. And we're just getting into that fourth quarter, okay? Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. These are times when it's either make it or break it times. All right. But with these tariffs going on, with the economy not doing so well, with the world in turmoil and chaos, all right, with America divided because of the president, all right, and people losing their jobs, so many different layoffs, man, so many stores closing down. Okay, prices going up. Now people need to focus more on necessity than luxury. All right, that means little Timmy might need to sacrifice this Christmas because daddy got to put food on the table, you know? Or Maggie might not get her favorite toy she wanted. She might not even get anything for Black Friday because things are so expensive, you know? Daddy didn't get a raise, you know? People are getting pay cuts. So things aren't looking too good. But how long are they gonna tolerate it? All right. It won't take long before people start taking to the streets, man. Let's see what this article got. Central banks are out of ammo. UN head demands immediate fiscal stimulus to save the world from crisis. Now, when you look it up, fiscal stimulus. It says fiscal stimulus increase refers to increasing government consumption or transfers of lowering taxes. Effectively, this means increasing the rate of growth of public debt, except that particularly Keynesians often assume that stimulus will cause sufficient economic growth to fill the gap or partially or completely. All right. So cutting taxes, okay, and increasing government spending. But that's not an efficient way. That is like a need to on a need to basis. So it says more and more global leaders sound the alarm that the world economy is headed for a difficult period in 2020. Unlike several years ago, leaders across the world are now calling for immediate deployment of fiscal stimulus, but not monetary stimulus, a sign that central banks are out of ammunition to combat the next economic crisis. All right, because the central banks, all right, are the ones that like the banks have issued. They issue out the money. You have the World Bank, you have the IMF, which helps with the regulation rate, but you have the world banks that issue out the money to different banks across the world, and then you have central banks. You have the Federal Reserve. All right, so you have these different banks located in these different governments or these different countries, but it's not looking too good, man, because these countries fall back on these banks to bail them out. Okay. And what I mean by these banks, I'm not talking about your average banks. Your average banks also rely on the central banks, all right, to bail them out. So now when the central banks are out of ammunition, now you're really screwed. All right. Now notice how it says to combat the next economic crisis. So it's at the point where people know, okay, this is coming. It's not a matter of, oh, this might happen, or is no, now it's gonna happen. What are we gonna do about it? UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that the global economic outlook is facing severe headwinds, and with the international community, Slovakia, and the international community must quickly act to do everything possible to prevent the world from fracturing, mostly due to the US and China trade war. Because once it starts collapsing, it's going down, man. The whole thing is going down. You trying to hold one end up, the other end is falling. You trying to hold that up, the other end is falling. You know? Let me see if there's a little bit more. Guterres spoke on Saturday at the World Bank Group and IMF annual meetings in Washington, D.C. He said that during tense and testing times, he fears the possibility of a great fracture, with the two largest economies splitting the globe in two, each with its own dominant currency, trade, and financial rules, its own internet and artificial intelligence capacities, and its own zero-sum geopolitical and military strategies. He told it, so now it's not being united. That's why these bankers are trying to pull their one world currency, to put the world under one currency. That way you don't have this division of like China doing their own thing, and all the nations that want to be down with China are sort of like divided against the U.S. and its allies, which they're on the verge of splitting from the U.S. You got Turkey, the whole thing going on with Turkey and Syria. Guess what? Turkey's now having talks with Putin. Erdogan is now having talks with Putin. So it says, so really the U.S. is losing the grip, man. Okay, and not just the U.S. but Esau. All right, though these elites, man. Look, man, your time is up. It says he told international bankers that it is not too late to avoid this fracturing of the world, but we must do everything possible to avert this and maintain a universal economy with universal respect for international law. A multipolar world with strong multilateral institutions such as the World Bank and IMF. But see, here's the thing. These international bankers are banking on this economy going down so they can bring their new world order. In order to do that, you have to do away with the old world. All right? That's why they have the concept of the phoenix rising from the ashes. So they have to do away with the old, all right, to come up with the new. So if they're backing this war, guess what? This war destroys governments. It destroys countries, and then it allows for those who are in power at the end to really spearhead their way to the top. Okay. Uh, it says at the WBG meetings, Antonio Guterres stressed we must do everything possible to maintain a universal economy with respect for international law, a multipolar world with strong multilateral institutions such as the World Bank and IMF. News his remarks. Well, hey man, this is what you have going on. Okay, this is where the economy is looking. Not only do you have this, but you have people protesting and rioting and uproaring all over the world. So this world is over, man. It's in turmoil. All right, this place is through. Okay, this place is through, man. And these are all prophecies. All right, this is all. Everything you see happening is all prophetic. It's been prophesied to happen when you read it in the Bible, man. Okay, and very soon, hey, matter of fact, let me get a couple precepts, man. Okay, very soon, a lot of people are gonna start looking for answers. All right, which they're already doing so now. But a lot of people are gonna, when they're scared, when they see all these things happening and it starts affecting them, then they're gonna start looking for answers, man. Then they're gonna understand it's not a time for joke, it's not a time for games. Let me type that again. Ezekiel 33:33. Hey, because the scriptures say the Most High declares the end from the beginning. Okay. All right. It says, and when this, Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 33, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. So when all these prophecies that we've been speaking of start happening, as you see, Second Esdras, the 15th chapter, Second Esdras, the 9th chapter, you see happening around the world, okay? Then you're going to understand, yo, those men were talking about it. Those men we saw there wearing quote unquote dresses, okay, and looking all crazy and stuff. Damn, I did hear them mention something like this. Oh shoot, that means what they're saying is actually happening. So when they said they were prophets, they weren't joking around. We laughed at them, but what they're saying is actually happening. That's when they're gonna understand that, yeah, that there has been a prophet among them. All right. But instead of taking heed, they mocked. All right. They thought it was a joke. Is it 2, second chapter? No, maybe it's a double K. Yeah. Habakkuk 2. Just going to the verse. Yep. Habakkuk 2, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right. When you go into the word there, all right, for clay, it means debt. Okay. Weight of pledges, heavy debts. Okay. What's that? Abat, abatya, right? Or abatyat, abatyat. Okay. So that there we go right there, man. Okay. You got that debt. Okay. That this world is in. Okay. This world is in major debt, man, and you can't live, or we can't run an economy on debt. Okay, because eventually it's all gonna come crashing down. You're on borrowed time. All right, and that's what you see going on, man. All right, so these prophecies are definitely taking place, and it's our job, okay, pursuant to Isaiah, and this will be the last precept, Isaiah 66, and um, let me see. Isaiah 62. Isaiah. Yep, Isaiah 62 and 6. I have set up watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence. Okay, so as you see going on, we being those watchmen, guess what? Now's the time to watch more than ever. Okay, that's why now's the time to push out all these videos more than ever, because now we're actually looking, we're watching, we're seeing the things happening. So now we have to talk, we have to speak more than ever, we have to warn more than ever, because these things are getting closer and closer and closer. Okay, and that's why you see us constantly putting out videos and constantly pushing out this word. Okay, because now the ball's in our court. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So I'm gonna end it here. All right, Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.